What hurts most after 50 is not being alone. It's feeling invisible even around people you love. You know that moment? You're sitting at the dinner table with your family. Everyone's there, your kids, maybe grandkids. There's conversation happening all around you, laughter, even. But somehow you feel like you're watching it all from behind glass. You're present, but not really seen. You're there, but not really heard. And the strangest part? You can't quite put your finger on when this started happening. It's not that anyone's being cruel. It's not even intentional. But somewhere along the way, you became the backdrop instead of the main character in your own life. And that asks a very particular kind of lonely that asks hard to explain to someone who has unfelt it. Here S, what nobody tells you about getting older. The loneliness doesn't come from having fewer people around. It comes from having people around who no longer see the full version of you. They see mom or dad. They see the person who handles things, who's always been there, who'll always be there. They don't see the person who still has dreams that never happened. The person who sometimes feels lost. The person who wonders if this is all there is. I want you to think about something for a moment. When was the last time someone asked you a question about yourself that wasn't logistical? Not, what time is dinner? Or, can you watch the kids on Saturday? But something real. Something like, what's been on your mind lately? Or, what makes you happy these days? If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. What happens after 50 is fascinating in a way that's both beautiful and brutal. You've spent decades becoming an expert at reading other people. You know when your daughter's stressed before she says a word? You can tell when your son's struggling, even through a casual text message. You've developed this incredible emotional radar that picks up on everyone else's needs and unspoken feelings. But here's the catch. While you were busy learning to see everyone else so clearly, they somehow stopped learning to see you. Not because they're selfish, not because they don't care, but because you got really, really good at being the stable one. The one who doesn't need as much attention. The one who's got it together. And now, that expertise has become a kind of prison. Think about your friendships for a second. The ones that used to feel easy and natural. Many of them have faded, haven't they? Not because of any dramatic falling out, but because of something quieter and more insidious. Life got busy. People moved. Routines changed. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you realize that you're the one who always reaches out first. You're the one who suggests getting together. You're the one keeping these connections alive. And some days, you're just too tired to be the one who tries. There's a particular exhaustion that comes with constantly being the initiator. It's like you're always knocking on doors, always making the effort, always being the glue. And eventually, you start to wonder, if I stopped reaching out, would anyone notice? Would anyone come looking for me? That question haunts more people over 50 than you might think. Here is something I've learned that might bring you some comfort. This feeling you have isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's actually a sign that something profound is shifting. After 50, you start to see through things you used to accept without question. Small talk that used to feel fine now feels exhausting. Friendships that were based on convenience rather than genuine connection suddenly feel hollow. You're not becoming bitter or difficult. You're becoming more honest about what actually nourishes you. The problem is, everyone around you is still operating on the old script. They're still treating you like the version of you from 5 or 10 years ago, the one who said yes to everything and never complained. They haven't noticed that you've changed, that you need different things now, that you're searching for something deeper. And because you've always been the strong one, you don't quite know how to tell them. Let me paint you a picture that might feel familiar. It's Sunday afternoon. Your adult children come over. They're stressed about their jobs, their kids, their lives. You listen. You offer advice when asked. You serve food. You clean up. They leave, and you're grateful they visited, but there's this strange emptiness afterward. 'Cause the whole time they were there, you were performing a role, being mom or dad, being the helper, the supporter, the wise one. But nobody asked about your life. the book you're reading, the thing that made you laugh this week, the quiet fear that woke you up at 3 a.m. You were needed, but you weren't known. And there's a world of difference between those two things. If this is resonating with you right now, I want you to know something. You're not being dramatic. You're not asking for too much. This isn't about wanting constant attention or being needy. This is about being seen as a full human being, not just a function in other people's lives. And that's one of the most fundamental needs we have. The thing about loneliness after 50 is that it's often invisible. From the outside, everything looks fine. You have family, you have a home, you have routines. But inside, there's this growing sense of disconnection. This feeling that you going through the motions of a life that used to fit but doesn't quite anymore. And here's where it gets really interesting. Sometimes you don't even want more time with people. You want different time. You want conversations that go beyond the surface. You want someone to be curious about you, not just need something from you. Do you want to be more than the person who remembers everyone's birthday and keeps the family calendar organized? I've talked to so many people in this stage of life, and there's this recurring theme. They feel guilty for feeling lonely. They tell themselves they should be grateful. After all, they have more than many people do. They have family, health, a roof over their heads. So why does it still feel like something's missing? But gratitude and loneliness aren't mutually exclusive. You can be genuinely thankful for what you have and still ache for deeper connection. Those two truths can exist at the same time. And recognizing that doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you human. Here is something that might surprise you. This loneliness you're feeling might actually be the beginning of something important. It's your inner self saying, I'm still here, I still matter. I still have things to say and feel and experience. That voice is precious. It's easy to ignore it, to push it down, to tell yourself you're being silly. But that voice is trying to guide you towards something more authentic. The years after 50 can be some of the most honest years of your life if you let them be. Because finally, you have the courage to admit what's not working. You have the wisdom to know what actually matters. You have the clarity to see through all the nonsense you used to think was important. And yes, that clarity can be lonely. Because not everyone is ready for the more authentic version of you. But here's what I want you to consider. What if this feeling of invisibility isn't a dead end? What if it's actually an invitation? An invitation to start showing up more fully as yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable. An invitation to be honest about what you need, even if you've spent decades pretending you don't need anything. An invitation to take up more space in your own life? I know that sounds easier said than done. When you've spent years being the one everyone leans on, changing that dynamic feels almost impossible. You worry about seeming selfish. You worry about burdening people. You worry about what might happen if you stop being the reliable constant in everyone's life. But what's the alternative? To keep quietly disappearing into the background of your own story? Here's a thought that might be worth sitting with for a moment. Maybe the people you love are unintentionally overlooking you. Maybe they just don't know how. Maybe they're so used to you being the strong, capable, together one that they genuinely don't realize you're struggling. Maybe they need permission to see you differently. And maybe, just maybe, that permission has to come from you first. What if you started showing up a little differently? Not dramatically, not with big announcements, but in small, honest ways. What if you said, actually, I'm not doing great today when someone asks how you are? What if you shared what's really on your mind instead of just asking about everyone else's lives? What if you admitted when you're tired or overwhelmed or just need someone to listen? It might feel vulnerable, might feel scary, but it might also be the beginning of being truly seen again. And here's the beautiful, hopeful truth underneath all of this. There are other people who feel exactly like you do. Right now, today, they're sitting in their own homes feeling invisible, wondering if anyone really sees them. They're longing for the same kind of authentic connection you're craving. They're tired of surface level everything and hungry for something real. Those people exist. And finding them, connecting with them, remembering what it feels like to be truly known, that's still possible. Even now, especially now. Because the truth is, the second half of life can be richer and deeper than the first, but only if you're willing to be honest about what's not working anymore. Only if you've re-brave enough to let people see the parts of you that are unshiny and put together. Only if you stop performing the role you think everyone expects and start showing up as the messy, complicated, beautiful human you actually are. You're not too old for deep friendship. You're not too old for meaningful connection. You're not too old to be known and seen and understood. But you might need to stop waiting for it to happen to you and start reaching for it yourself. If something I've said here has touched something in you, I'd love to know what it is. Not for me, but because naming these feelings is the first step toward changing them. The conversation we're having right here, this is the kind of thing I explore in every video on this channel. Real talk about what it actually means to navigate this stage of life. No platitudes, no quick fixes, just honest reflections that treat you like the thinking, feeling, complex person you are. If that resonates with you, staying connected here might be worth your time. So here's what I want to leave you with. That feeling of invisibility you sometimes have, it's not a verdict on your life. It's not proof that you don't matter or that your best days are behind you. It's actually evidence that you're outgrowing an old way of being in the world. And yes, that's uncomfortable, but it's also the doorway to something more real. You're not broken. You're not asking for too much. You're just finally ready for relationships and experiences that match the depth you've developed inside. And that's not something to apologize for. That's something to honor. The question isn't whether you deserve to be seen. If you do, the question is, are you ready to let yourself be seen even when it's scary?